What's up guys, Sid Productions here, and today we're coming at you with another Versus review, and today we're looking at the pirate transformer himself, Thundertron. Now, we have this figure right here, the original Thundertron. Now, this isn't a G1 character, this guy is actually from the Aligned continuity. He was originally going to be in Transformers Prime Season 3, but after the show got cancelled, they cut him out of the story. They did happen to put him in the books, where he was the captain of a crew called the Star Seekers, where he had a ship called the Tidal Wave. And he was a pretty cool character that, you know, also got a toy. And he's the start of a whole new faction of guys called the Star Seekers, or I guess they're called the Star Raiders now. Yeah, can you believe this guy, Thundertron, is now back after so many years, after about 10 years of not being used? And was this figure even good in the first place? No. Now, I'm gonna get a lot of shit in the comments for this, but I really do not like the Thundertron figure, at least the original one. I think it's honestly kind of a mess with some good qualities, of course. First things first, the Lion mode looks very nice all around. And, you know, it has a nice build, great color scheme, color breakup, all that. But aside from that, it is primarily just a brick. It can't really pose that much. For posability, mouth cannot open or close. These can move forward and back, has a swivel here, and the claws can go like that. Back feet are just the robot feet transformed, so it can go down that far, can crunch forward and go back that far, and has a swivel at the ball joint. So yeah, the Lion mode isn't that posable, but Beast modes aren't usually that posable anyway. Well, let's move on to the modern Thundertron, that being the Legacy United one. Now, I think we were all surprised when we saw the leak listings for Thundertron. I was surprised too. And I was more than surprised that this alternate mode improved on the original. Now, this alternate mode, while not being too crazy, it's just a regular lion, does have way better posability. Arms can go all the way up and this far back, can do a T-pose, has a swivel here, can go forward this much and back this much, and the feet can go inwards, but that's mainly for the transformation. The legs can move up that far, down this far, has a deep knee right here, double jointed leg, so that means it can go in a more animalistic pose, and has some pivot, and this leg has a swivel, but that's because of the gimmick, which we'll get into later. But yeah, overall, if I had to pick which one I liked more in alt mode, I gotta say I do prefer this one, the Legacy United one. I just think that the alternate mode is much more beast-like, much more tough, much more aggressive, while this one looks very worn out and like a relic. Like the way Thundertron is described in the comics, he's described as a very powerful, cruel, strong character. And I just feel like this doesn't really give off that energy, while this one does. But let's move on to the size comparisons. For size comparisons, here we have the Transformers Prime Thundertron and the Legacy United Thundertron with Legacy United Boulder Crash, Legacy United Star Raiders Farak, Studio Series Leader Class Grimlock, and Blitzwing. Okay, so after that transformation, we get the robot mode, and he looks a lot better. I definitely think he looks good. The only negative I will say is the head, which I could get to more in posability, but it doesn't really go up higher than that. It does originally come like this, and I was, for the most part, always transforming it similar to that, but you could actually pull it up, and once you hear it click, then you have the head in place. And in the robot mode, he does look very nice, very good presence. I feel like this definitely goes with the more weathered, ancient look that the aligned continuity wanted to go for with him. And if you want to, you could even take off his leg, and you could make him have a peg leg. And he does stay pretty stable. And there is a fan mode where you can make this a new bird of some kind, which can go, I guess, right over here or something, or can sit on his hand. I've just seen a lot of people make this into a bird, but whatever. Guess I'm gonna just put it back on his foot. But for posability, we get a head moving left and right. Not really much up, but can look down. Has a T-pose, swivel here, elbow, nothing at the waist. At the wrist, nothing at the waist. Can T-pose, but because of these things, it does get in the way. Can kick forward, can kick back this much. Swivel here. Has a knee, has a swivel here and a swivel here. And that's about it for the posability. Nothing really too complex with it. Just simple articulation. But, you know, I'm not really expecting this figure to have high levels of articulation like we would with a modern figure, simply because this figure is more than 10 years old, you know? So I can't really expect it. And this figure does come with an accessory, that being this sword. And I mean, it's kind of cool. It can go on the arm like so. And when you move it like that, let's move it. There we go. So, I mean, it is a kind of cool accessory, but I'm not going to really be displaying this figure with, never plan to display this figure with this. But let's move on to the Legacy United one. The transformation for this figure is pretty fun and simple, and the robot mode we get is this guy. Now, sorry about that. I personally think this robot mode is pretty good. I think it does have a lot of the traits that I liked from the original Thundertron, that being, you know, the hip skirts, the lion head in the center, broad chest, all that stuff. And I think this honestly improves upon it a lot, but does have some minor things I'm not a big fan of. Not a big fan of the tone of blue that they used. It's not a bad tone. It's darker though. Along with that, the shoulders, even though the leg transformation is quite clever, having the claws come out like on this one is is pretty cool, and to lose that does suck, and it does make the shoulders pretty big. Aside from that, not a big fan of the face sculpt, to be honest. I don't think it's a bad face sculpt. I just think it feels too much like Alpha Trion G1. It feels too much like a G1 head sculpt, which I guess this kind of is, since this is, you know, one of the prime Legacy United figures, so it's a bit G1ified. But I still think it's a very good figure. This figure also does come with the same accessory, that being a sword, and he can do the removable foot gimmick, so you also get that. And like the original, you can actually put the claw onto the sword. Where the oh, right there. You can't put the claw on the sword like so. And I mean, I'm not going to display it like that, because I think that looks a little dumb. But I think that's pretty cool that you can recreate that gimmick from the old toy. But yeah. So these two figures are pretty good, and if I had to say which one I liked more, I'd have to go with the Legacy United one. The only things I'm not a big fan of are its really Alpha Trion looking face sculpt and the colors. I kind of wish that, you know, there was another repaint of this figure that I could get. Way. The Legacy United Star Raiders Leader Class Thundertron, oh boy, that's a mouthful, is our newest Thundertron, and was actually in transit when I started recording this video and arrived the same day I was recording it. So I decided to throw him in the review just to talk about him a little bit. And I do like this figure a lot. Now, this figure, as you can see, is very similar to the other two. And I feel like it's a good fusion of the three, and it's probably the best out of these three. But it does come with two additional figures, that being Night Strike, which is a very nice looking figure. And when you transform him, he does become the flag for the tidal wave, which they also have a Legacy United figure of, which I'll probably have to buy eventually. Looks very nice as a sculpt. Not accurate to the box, I will say. They did change the deco. It was originally just supposed to be like that, but they added the extra lines, which I don't really get, but it doesn't look too bad. And then you get Calcitron, which I really like. I really want to see him in the muddy color scheme, just because I think that's more accurate to the Headmasters cartoon, and I love these Rock Lord guys. I think it's pretty cool. And this figure itself is pretty cool. I mean, he's very monstrous. I love the new head sculpt a lot. But yeah, he's just a nice goon to have. But aside from that, here are the three Thundertrons, and they are pretty cool. But if I had to say which one I like the least, it would probably be the original. And yeah, I guess let's move on to the size comparisons. For size comparisons, here we have the Transformers Prime Thundertron and the Legacy United Thundertrons with Transformers United Boulder Crash, Studio Series 86 Leader Class Grimlock, and Blitzwing. For a number of reasons, I think it's obvious which figure I like more. Is it because that the figure keeps falling and it took me 2 hours to get even the few photos that I got? Yeah. Is it because that this figure is very floppy and has defects and just kind of sucks? Yeah. And I'm not going to act like the Legacy United one is any better. It does suffer from posability issues, weird colors and all that, and even the Legacy Star Raiders one isn't any better. But which one do I recommend you get overall? I'd probably say the Legacy United one. I feel like both modes are very streamlined. It's a great update to the original. I feel like it changes a lot of things that made the original interesting and use that to make it the new one interesting. While it being different, it does carry a lot of the same things, and have a feeling that this Thundertron figure is going to be retooled or repainted into new characters, like Cybertron Leo Breaker or Nemesis Breaker. I feel like this can easily be repainted into that, but we'll just have to wait and see. And if you guys have either of these figures, or any of these three figures, leave it down in the comments below. I'm curious which one you guys think is the best. And do you guys think that Thundertron would have been a cool addition to Transformers Prime? I'd also like to hear that too. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.